Algorators. It's Thursday night. Let's see who's joining us tonight. Venetia Phillips. All right. Venetia Phillips is in the house. Brenda O. Welcome back. SL. Hello. Sandra McGee. Hello, everyone. Hello, Sandra. JP Mills made it back. Tasia Davis. Thank you, Tasia, because you know I will call you to see ya. Danielle Cameron is on time, everybody, and in the building. Colette Davis. All right, Colette, welcome. Cammie Lindsay, we see you. Lynn Jacques, welcome, Lynn Jacques. SL Attorney Carter going to break down all the tomfoolery. You already know the foolery is in line. Loretta Toombs, Sharonia. Tell me how to say that so I won't mess it up. Sharonia K. This is me. Hello for the first time, and here I am butchering your name. Dag, I apologize. Dominic Starr, LTC 412. Welcome. T. Kasey. Everybody, welcome. Tonight on Celebrity Court of Public Opinion, fraud, football, and federal court. All right, tonight the case is proved that money, fame, and power don't keep you safe from scandal. Jerry Jones, billionaire boss of the Dallas Cowboys, guess what? Is marching into a jury trial. Yes, you heard me correctly. A jury trial. We're going to ask the lawyers, how did that happen on a sexual assault lawsuit? The question is this accountability for abuse of power or just another billionaire trying to buy silence? Second up, we're going to talk about Kim Zolciak. She's been subpoenaed in a $100 million divorce case. So messy, Bravo couldn't even script it. Is she a witness, a pawn, or about to have her wigs entered into evidence? Nicki Minaj, oh my goodness, what's going on with Nicki? Is she spiraling? Her Amex card allegedly hacked while her $20 million mansion faces seizure over debt. Is it fraud? Is it foreclosure? Or just another day in the Queen's chaotic kingdom? And last but not least, Paul Pierce. Yep, you remember Paul Pierce, former NBA star, arrested for DUI. He was caught actually sleeping behind the wheel. From Hall of Fame to Hall of Shame, how much can one legend lose before it's game over? Now, these headlines are wild, but the stakes are high. And baby, the shade tonight is going to be shadier than you've ever seen. Oh, it's coming heavy. Court is now in session, and joining us tonight are our legal beagles, that fiery civil attorney, Shatan Turner, that humorist at law, Sean Carter, and bringing up the rear, everything, all the shit they didn't teach you in law school, author Jason Weiss. Welcome, my legal beagles.
Hey, Your Honor. Hey.
All right, are we ready? Oh, doesn't Shatan
ready?
Yeah, we're not quite as ready as Christine R is because Jason's back, but most of us are ready.
Is Christine R in a better mood tonight? Is she in a better mood? Let's see. Did I miss her? Oh, Christine R. Hey, I love you. Hey, Christine R. Hey. She said it sounds like the song. My Sharona. Okay, Sharona.
All right.
Thank you. Brian and Simone.
I love y'all because the Steelers are playing tonight, and yet I am here with you.
All right.
All right, we appreciate it.
They're losing, so it's okay.
Bambi B Entertainment wishing everyone a wonderful evening. Welcome, Bambi B. All right, let's get the party started. First up, Jerry Jones faces a civil jury trial in July 2026 for allegedly sexual assault in a luxury suite at the AT&T Stadium. Now, the plaintiff claims Jones groped and forcibly kissed her without his dentures falling out. Now, Jones, he denies everything. Now, let's be clear. When you're one of America's teams, the playbook better be clean. But Jerry's, he's heading to court, and it isn't fourth day. Oh, who wrote this? But Jerry's headed to court, and it isn't fourth down. This is reputation on the line. All right, let's go to the legal beagles. The first thing I want to know is, I didn't even know that you could get a jury trial and it'd be a year away. How does that work, and how did this happen? And it's a civil case. How does that work? We want to go.
I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll take it because I missed last week, so I got to make up for it, or I missed Tuesday. So look, anytime you file a complaint in circuit court, civil court, whatever it is, you have the right to ask for a jury trial. period. So at the end of the pleading, you go through everything, you do all your counts, and then there's a separate line right there that says plaintiff requests a jury trial. Defendant can say, I don't want a jury trial, and then the defendant has to say why, or the defendant can stay silent, and then it's going to be a jury trial. So you have that right to ask, and that's what happened here. I don't know why Jerry Jones would want a jury trial.
Exactly. Why would you want any of that mess out in the open like this?
The only reason I can think is that he thinks that he did absolutely nothing wrong and that he is going to prevail, and he wants his peers of maybe people that are more like him to hear this because there's a better chance that they see this guy who, can barely stand up on his own and dentures were falling out of his mouth and he ain't looking to try to kiss no one.
Well, let me ask you this, though. Given his torrid past, right? If anybody watched his documentary, you see where he came from, what he built, kind of like even the scandal of everything. Why would you open yourself up, Attorney Carter, from now until July of next year for everybody else to jump on the bandwagon?
Well, and here's the thing.
Why would you expose yourself like that? Because to me, that would be the last thing that I would want anybody to give them almost 10 months to figure out who else can jump in and add and defame or distract.
I can only say that billionaires are built different. You're absolutely right. I wouldn't, if I got 10, 11 billion, he got I think the Cowboys are worth 10 billion alone. He's got like billions and billions. I'd pay this woman off a few $100,000. I think about it. Right. But that's not how billionaires work. He's like, hey, you ain't going to take none of my money. Right. He didn't want to pay taxes. So, he don't want to pay this. And he's like, I'm going to go ahead and fight this. Now, the 10 months is because, quite frankly, it's Texas and it take a long time to get to trial. So that's the closest they could have done it. And as far as jury versus a judge trial, it wouldn't have really mattered. It would only been 12 more people hearing it because it still would have been a public record and all of that, whether it's a bench or jury trial. The real question is why he would even go through all this. He might actually be innocent because he says, I didn't do it. And her claim, by the way, is that he did a whole Donald Trump in the middle of the luxury box with everybody there. He didn't put her in the back room nowhere, nothing. He just was like, wham. And here's the thing about it is that she claims, on the other hand, I got witnesses. I got people who are going to come here and tell you that they saw this happen. The strange thing to me is this happened 8 years ago. All right, 2018. Or 7 years ago, September 16th, 2018. She waited until September 12th, 2023 to file the lawsuit. So it was 4 days before the statute of limitations was going to run. She finally said, I'm going to do it. And to me, that seemed disadvantageous because that was 5 years for people to forget. 5 years for them to get rid of any surveillance, footage they had, receipts of who was in the box, who was it. It seemed to me if that's kind of something you want to bring the charges on, you want to do it immediately, right when the evidence is there. And she waited until the last possible minute. But it's going to be interesting.
Danielle Cameron said, I can only imagine what actually happened. Maybe he took too much Viagra and his pecker couldn't go down. Y'all are a mess out here. Shaitan, let me go to you really quickly and let me ask you this. What does this young lady need to prove for a civil sexual assault under the Texas law?
It's the standard for proving civil sexual assault is very similar for criminal sexual assault. It's just that the burden of proof is different, right? And so she needs to show that she was touched in a sexual way and on her person, right? And she anticipated it happening and it happened. So the grabbing by the P, which was made famous in the 2016 election, right? Apparently that's a thing. And I thought it was limited to the person who was accused of it at the time, but perhaps it's a generational thing. Like I had an interesting thought when Attorney Weiss was saying he wanted to be judged by a jury of his peers. He has no peers because they're all dead, right? He is... So the jury's not going to have his peers. His peers, they are, octogenarian billionaires. There are not that many of them in the world, let alone them being on the jury. So I think that Attorney Carter is right. He either one of two things. Either he's senile and doesn't remember, right? Or he is confident that I may have grabbed a lot of them in my day, but I didn't.
Christine R said, "Yes, Shaitan, give a long-winded estrogen answer." These men have it. All right, let's go to you. Back to you, Jason, real quick. How do courts weigh he say, she said without physical evidence, like Attorney Carter was saying? Since all the footage may be gone, people can't remember. What do they do? What do they use?
Believe it or not, they're going to look at credibility. They're going to look at who they like. It could be that he walks into the courtroom with a cane and slow, and some jury member is going to say, he reminds me of my grandpa. I love my grandpa. Never want to hurt my grandpa. Jerry Jones is going to win. Somebody else could look at him. He could be wearing a red tie, and they're going to be like, I don't like anybody that wears red ties. I want that guy. I want him found guilty. So
if I was in the state of Texas, I would go in wearing my cowboy sweatshirt. Because he's put that whole state, he made a whole lot of money for that whole state. A lot of those jury members probably have some type of touch point on him at some point.
Yeah, but right now the Cowboys are not doing good. They're not looking good. So they might be pissed off and they want him to sell the team. So, if he gets that kind of judgment, got to sell the team. Maybe they'll be a good team again. You never know.
Yeah, I did see that on there.
Is that he I mean, maybe at one point he was, but I think like in the last 20 years or so, he hasn't been a beloved owner. Like people have loved the team, but haven't necessarily extended that love to him. And so he may not get that kind of warm embrace. Like in Pittsburgh, if you're a Rooney, you can do no wrong because they've done a lot to benefit the city. But I think that his reputation is that he's kind of mean and honoring.
Yeah. I didn't. If you guys haven't watched it, is that Shaitan or is that me?
Nope, she froze.
I think she froze.
Okay. I think it's Shaitan. I think you're freezing a little bit. I did not. I think you have a point there, Shaitan. I did not realize how his reputation had started to decline until I watched that documentary. If you guys have not seen his documentary on Netflix, you need to check it out. It's very interesting. Very interesting. Let's go to the algoriters. Algoriters, should billionaire owners be held to a higher standard in cases like this? Well, I guess if we follow the lead of the president, no, right? Put down in the chat, yes, more power means more accountability, or no, treat them like anyone else. So let's go back to the algoriters. Should billionaire owners be held to a higher standard in cases like this? Put drop down in the chat. Yes, power means more accountability, or no, treat them like anyone else. I think he spent decades running the Cowboys. Now he's running for consent, allegedly. All right, let's keep it moving from Texas Stadium Suites to Atlanta subpoenas. Yep, the Kim Zolciak just got dragged into a $100 million divorce war. You heard me correct. Kim Zolciak has been subpoenaed in a $100 million divorce involving and dragging into the lawsuit her ex-husband Troy Behrman and another party. She may be forced to testify or even turn over financials. Now listen, Kim's been dodging foreclosure, dodging Bravo cameras, and now guess what she's dodging? Subpoenas. Baby, this isn't don't be tardy. This is don't be in contempt. All right, let's go to you, Attorney Carter. What happens if Kim refuses or lies under the subpoena?
Then just like anybody else, she might be going to jail. You have to, respond to these things. You certainly have to be honest. That's actually a criminal charge if you don't. But generally speaking, when they give you a subpoena for information, you have to, well, I shouldn't say it. You have to answer it unless you actually have a reason that your lawyers can go to court and say, no, this is too intrusive. You can't get this information. It doesn't have anything to do with this case. For instance, if I sue you, I can't say, hey, I want Beyonce's records, right? They can be like, no, that doesn't have anything to do with this. All right. And so, if she has some reason to get out of it, she can. But if the judge rules, nope, you need to turn over this information, then you got to turn it over and you certainly got to tell the truth.
Okay. Can someone help me understand? Can someone help me understand? How does she get dragged into this? Like, why is she a part of a lawsuit with another husband and wife's divorce? And why does she have to show up in court? Attorney Turner?
Because this is messy. So when you decide to mess with somebody else's husband, you can have your ass dragged into court. People forget about that. They think all they're doing is spreading their legs and spreading the love, but in truth, what's supposed to happen in a marriage is that the spouses use the resources to benefit the family or the union. So if your spouse or you decide that you want to date while married, that's dissipation of assets, right?
It's called what? It's called what?
Dissipation of marital assets. So that means that you squandered away resources that were supposed to benefit the family and instead was benefiting the trick downtown, right?
Yeah, but he's got $100 million.
Don't matter.
But it doesn't matter. And
doesn't matter.
This woman is alleging is that Kim has material facts that she needs in order to identify what she's entitled to in her divorce, that they may have, you know, he spent money on her. They may have some dealings together that are valuable. You know, potentially, I don't know how deep Kim's relationship goes with this guy, but sometimes, because you know.
Oh, no. Order in the court. Order in the court. Kim needs better pussy. Order in the court. Kim needs better pussy management. If you slinging it with $100 million man and you still can't pay your house note, you are in contempt of this court.
Well, no, that's a different thing. If you're slanging it with $100 million man, you don't want anybody to know about it. So if you're claiming to be broke with your husband, you're not having some secret way that you're paying your mortgage.
And that's exactly why our lawyers need to file a motion to quash. That's what Attorney Carter was basically saying. You have your attorneys come in and they file a motion to quash. What's the grounds for it? A quash means cut it down, break it down, stop it right there. You stop it in its tracks. And you don't have to come to court. You don't have to testify, because the concern that her lawyers are having is that if she goes in and testifies there, whatever she testifies to is going to be used against her in her. Exactly. And some of the rumor mills are.
She was tricking off on Troy with allegedly. She was tricking off on Troy while he was at home with them 8 kids. She was slinging it with a multi-millionaire and can't pay her rent.
Well, she was doing it for the family, but she just doesn't want Troy to get that extra money. But here's the point I was going to make is the reason the wife wants to talk to her is, remember back in the day when people used to put stuff in their mama's name because they didn't want the government to know about it or whatever? Right. What the wife is trying to figure out is, did he create some businesses and stuff that are now like in Kim's name because he was trying to hide it from her? So you never know how deep it runs with the parent.
But no, wait, because Kim's financials got subpoenaed because she was trying to push everything off on Troy.
On Croy.
Yeah. Croy.
But there's still, we don't know yet what this wife suspects. It's also possible, because it's been known to happen, that she could just be subpoenaing her because she can, right?
Or sleeping with her man.
Or her soon-to-be ex-husband, who she's getting divorced from, Croy, said, hey, subpoena her because I'm not getting it in my case. So if we get 2 judges and a different judge orders her to produce these documents, they might make their way to me.
I can finally get the documents.
Bingo.
Oh, this is just messy. This is messy.
Well, you know why divorces are so expensive, Your Honor, right?
Because they're worth it.
Bingo.
I wasn't. Oh, well, yeah. Now I think back on it. All right, let's go to the algoriters. Let's see what the algorithms think. Is Kim being dragged in as a witness or exposed as a player? This is a good question. Is Kim being dragged in as a witness or exposed as a player? Drop down in the chat, algorithms. Is Kim being dragged in as a witness or exposed as a player? Kim wanted a reality comeback. Careful for what you wish for, beautiful. Court transcripts are the new confessionals. All right, let's keep it moving from Atlanta wigs to Queens wallets. Nicki Minaj is battling Amex fraud and mansion money woes. Yes, you heard me correctly. Nicki Minaj, yes, the multi-millionaire. Nicki Minaj claims that her Amex was used fraudulently. Meanwhile, her $20 million LA mansion could be seized over unresolved debt. Now the Barbs are gagging. Fraudulent Amex charges and a foreclosure notice? Nicki, what is going on? Nicki's living a plot twist messier than a Queen radio rant. All right, let's go to our resident know-it-all. And when I say he knows the tea, he knows the tea. Attorney Carter, how do banks investigate celebrity financial fraud claims?
It's not much different than anybody else, all right? Basically, they do it badly. And here's what I mean by this. You ever been to the... I've been in a hotel before, all right? Tried to charge a Coke in the vending machine because they don't take cash anymore. I get a call from my bank. Somebody in Philadelphia trying to use your ATM, right, for $1.25. But let some fool go and spend $900 on Amazon. They don't call me, right? but when someone calls and says, hey, these charges have not been on my account. Now, this is actually a brilliant scheme because think about it. If you are going to do this, I'm not recommending it. But if you are going to steal somebody's credit card, steal Nicki Minaj's. And here's why. Because I'm sure she got lots of charges she don't check, right? You think about it. You only check when you broke, right? Anybody else just pay the damn bill. So
it's only $20,000, counselor.
What? You can't get crazy. You can't go buy a house. You got to do a little bit.
The fraud that she's claiming,
right,
is only $20,000.
You don't want to kill the Nicki that laid the golden egg. Just a little bit of time, $4,000-5,000 a month, and just she won't miss that. She gonna miss $200,000. All right, you got to be reasonable.
It's only 20.
I'm saying exactly they weren't getting to it, but they were probably doing $4,000-5,000 a month. Just easing into it.
Okay.
Now, when the bank is going to do it, here's the way the bank looks at it. They don't look at it from the standpoint of the person did it. They want to know, did you charge this? Because what they're concerned about is you charging a bunch of stuff and saying, I didn't do it. It wasn't me. So they want to check where you were, right? Use cell phone data and all that and try to figure out, okay, who was doing these transactions? Make sure it wasn't you trying to scam them. And then from there, they'll try to find out. But, you hear about identity theft. It's one of the crimes that people get away with a lot.
And look, they can check IP addresses, where you made the charge from, and they can do everything. But the one thing I want to say is that, you were talking about her house getting taken over this. That's really...
Her house wasn't... Her house has been taken over because she has an outstanding debt of like $500,000.
Yes.
I want to get to this story that we've seen on the Instagram that A. Paris is talking about. Her ex-stylist, DeAndre Tristan, allegedly is being drugged into this and saying that he was the one who used her credit card. Now, how messy is that?
So here's the thing, right? If you as a credit card holder give someone access to your credit card and you allow them to use it, hey, here's my credit card, go buy, Starbucks for everybody. You've given that person permission. And now that's an authorized person on that credit card. So Amex needs to dig deeper, and Amex is going to have to say, well, if she allowed everybody to purchase, on Starbucks and all this, now
hold on, because I need clarity here because I've done this. Okay, so you're saying even though the card has my name on it, if I gave the card to my assistant and said, "Hey, go get us all lunch," is that am I making them? Are you saying that I'm making them an authorized user?
At least for that transaction, yes. Maybe not forever and ever and ever. So then Amex. Because when you have a credit card dispute and you have a fraud dispute, they ask you, who had access to your card? Do you still have your card? Did you lend it to anybody? And if you said, yes, I lent it to my assistant so she could go buy Starbucks for every single person. Well, did you tell them they can only use it for that one time? Did you get the card back? This is the investigation that Amex does. I recently had one of my credit cards used for an Amazon purchase. And these were all the questions that they asked me. American Express has a very thorough process.
Process, yeah. Oh, wow. All right, let's talk about this foreclosure, Attorney Carter. Talk to me about what's happening and what does it entail?
First Attorney Turner, you had something that you wanted to interject?
Well, I just wanted to go back to the concept of authorized users because there's two different ways. There's the way that Attorney Weiss was saying, which is somebody has the physical card for a particular purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's also going on to your account and making someone an authorized user.
Yes, that's what I was thinking.
Express permission. Yeah.
Correct.
So the one that you do with express permission, that's kind of official. But what Attorney Weiss is saying is that by physically giving someone the card, right, that is permission to use it. And then it becomes a factual dispute about the terms with which you gave it to them, because they could take a picture and they could do all kinds of things. And so you really have to protect it, because what the fraud department at the credit card company is going to want to do is to show beyond a reasonable doubt that they can go after the person for the crime. And they're not going to be able to do it if you gave it to them every Wednesday to go to Starbucks.
Okay.
And here's the other thing, right? If you authorize somebody to go ahead and please order it for me on Amazon, here's my credit card, and it happens like on Uber Eats and all of that the last credit card used often is stored.
Often will be charged.
So someone will go in there and charge it again, and they can go, oh crap, I just charged it to Shatan's credit card, and Shatan could be like, wait, someone just charged Uber Eats to my credit card in Florida. I didn't authorize that. She might not have remembered that, when she was here visiting, she picked up dinner for all of us. And thank you, by the way, Shatan, for picking up dinner for all of us. I do appreciate
Jason,
that.
where's Tova?
In the other room with the dog.
Because Jason, Christine R says, Jason, you told me I could order a hairy thong on Amazon with your card. Oh my goodness. Jason, does Tova know this?
She does now.
It's a while sometimes to realize that you've been the victim of fraud. It took me months, because to Attorney Carter's point, it's a function of how much activity you have on your card before you recognize that something's awry. So I don't roll like Nicki, but I think by the time I found out, there were hundreds of dollars used. People were getting sushi. They were getting Starbucks. They were doing it in intervals that I would do that I didn't notice right
Exactly.
away.
You got to do a little bit.
I
Yeah, you got to do a little bit.
I got to do better. You know who does a very good job of helping you manage a credit card is Goldman Sachs Apple Card. Does anybody have one?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we all got Goldman Sachs Apple cards.
Goldman Sachs has an Apple. They do the Apple Card.
They don't work in my neighborhood. What's wrong with you?
It's a great card.
But wait, you could tie any of your credit cards into your Apple Pay or whatever it is. My Amex is tied in, so every time a FedEx is charged, a Starbucks is charged, Apple, I get a pop up on my phone immediately, and I'm able to immediately stop it.
Yeah, I love that.
Well, that's also why you should lock your phone. So for the algoriters, they should know, be careful before you make someone an authorized user officially. And if you have your credit card tied to your phone, you need to make sure you have a password on it, because to Jason's point about trying to figure out what happened, people could just be going everywhere with the phone and then they bring it back. You really have to practice due diligence on the protection, or you compromise your ability.
Yeah, and I hate when people do that, tap your phone, because I just feel like if I tap my phone to get my contact, I feel like they can grab everything that's on my phone off.
And there are apps that will allow people to do that.
Yeah, that's so scary. All right, let's go back to you really quickly. I want to touch on this foreclosure, Attorney Carter. Tell me, I'm just so confused. I'm confused that a person could be so successful, make so much money, and find their $20 million home possibly up for foreclosure over $500,000 debt. Can you explain that to me?
So let's get a bit of the facts, all right? We're back in 2000, I think it's 19. Nicki is in Frankfurt, and she's at a concert, and somebody in the, and then what they've done is they've hired a German security company, which makes total sense. You don't want to fly somebody from LA over there. Right. You had to do security in every city. They somehow messed up and let somebody get too close to her. So her emotional support felon husband decides that, you know what, you let somebody get too close to my wife, and goes and punches the German guy in the face, shatters his jaw.
Oh, shit.
So exactly, had to get reconstructive surgery, all kind of stuff. So he sues them in California okay, and says, hey, your man broke my jaw, which I thought was very courteous because he could have sued him in Germany and made him go there.
Made him go back.
Right? But there's a reason why he didn't do that, because anyway, so he decides I'm going to sue in California. The Nicki, who don't look at her credit card statements, also doesn't look at certified mail that says you being sued. They don't even answer the complaint. And this is the important thing to understand, people. If you get sued, you have to answer. If you do not answer, you lose automatically. And so they said, you know what? You didn't answer, $500,000. Whatever defenses you'd have out of the window, $500,000. Nicki, pay him $500,000. She don't open her mail. So she hasn't paid since March of 2024. She still didn't pay the $500,000.
Wow.
So then the guy files something and says, okay, since you don't take mail, I bet you will take mail if you living outside. And so I want to take your house. Now I don't take the whole $20 million. I just you sell the house and give me my $500,000 out. You can have the rest of it. Okay. Now Nicki is going to pay attention. All right. Now she actually going to answer the mail that comes around.
Got it.
So now she can go in, and she has some good defenses for this action. It's kind of strange that, it's almost hard. She has one thing that says, hey, this happened in Germany. This is none of California's business. All right, we can go to German. All right, I speak a little German. I can get what's that? Rosetta Stone. Why don't we go to Germany and deal with this? Because she would like this case to be handled in Germany. Here's why. Because even if the German jury gives him 1 trillion marks, how are they going to enforce it in California? Right? She don't have to go to Germany no more. So she would probably prefer the case be held there, but she's going to make that claim. She's going to
she may have waived that by the default. Absolutely. That's going to be waived. She's not going to have that right. Other defenses will stand. Right. What she'll have to do is she'll have to move to set aside the judgment, put it aside, show excusable neglect, show on that nobody's been prejudiced, and then the case will proceed. But if you don't answer and do certain things within the first 20 days, it's a use it or lose it. Done. So saying it needs to be brought in Germany, that's waived.
Okay, she can't do that. So all she can really do, but she can claim other things. For instance, he deserved to be punched in the mouth. All right, if you let people get close to me, my husband gonna punch you in the mouth. That's in the contract. I mean, she can has a bunch of other claims, but the thing is that she was supposed to, all right, 1.5 years ago, answer this stuff. And I'm cool. That girl Nicki, I would do it for you for about $400,000 a year. I will answer your mail. I will just look in the mail that comes to your house and tell you when people are charging too much and when you need to get it, and probably help you get a divorce because your man
he'll do the legal work that's associated with
and all
responding.
he wanted for you to wear a slip on Tuesday.
You know what, Attorney Carter? I don't know if y'all remember, we talked about a case a couple of months ago, and someone had gotten a default judgment, and somehow they were able to get it reopened. Mm-hmm. It was an athlete, I think, and it was in Georgia, maybe. So I don't know if she's too late for that, but at this point, she should explore all of her options, considering she could be on the street.
And the very last thing she could do, by the way, is just hand that man a check. All right, the court is not going to want to sell your house. That's the last option they want to do, is to break up a $20 million house for a $500,000 debt, like you were talking about earlier, Your Honor. That's silly. So if she comes up with the money, she's going to be fine. I'm sure
during the foreclosure boom, associations were selling homes worth millions of dollars over a $20,000 or a $30,000 association debt that wasn't paid. And believe it or not, people were going in and they were buying these homes.
Those vulture funds were created. Yep.
Right. $100,000 for a $4 million house. Made everybody except the owner happy.
In the 2008. All right, let's go to Algorators. Algorators, are Nicki's financial troubles fraud, bad management, or just bad optics? What you think? Are Nicki Minaj's financial troubles fraud, bad management, or just bad optics? Drop down in the chat. Nicki said, all these bitches is my sons, but sis, did they charge your card too? All right, everybody, from AMX fraud to alcohol fails. Paul Pierce went from Celtics green to DUI blue lights. Ooh, this is a tough one right here. Paul Pierce was arrested in Los Angeles for DUI after being found asleep behind the wheel. Now, Pierce went from dropping 30 points a night to dropping consciousness in his car. It's giving game over, sir. This is really interesting. Let's go to you, Attorney Turner. This is the third celebrity that has got caught sleeping in a car. Tiffany Haddish, right?
Mm-hmm.
Paul Pierce. Who was the third one? We covered them all on this show before. Tell me again, what is that law about falling asleep? Because how is it a DUI when you're not moving?
So the other one was in California. It was a football player. His was interesting because he was just asleep and there wasn't any other evidence of damage.
Yeah, he was pulled off on like an exit or something, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm. He was.
For my boo Paul Pierce, because I was telling Attorney Carter back in the day, there was this time in Miami and Paul was fun. He thought we were cute. He showed us a really good time.
The dots coming out again.
No, he didn't make us do any Jerry Jones type stuff. All we had to do was be cute, and he bought us stuff. He drove us around in limos. We were living the life. But anyway, in this case, there was a crash that they wanted information from, and then he was asleep near it. And so that's the part that makes this a more interesting case, because they were trying to figure out what happened. The fact that he was asleep and seemed to be impaired, then they wanted to investigate. So
Marshawn Lynch, the running back from the NFL. That's who it was.
So, okay, I want to ask this question because somebody in the chat said, why didn't they go to sleep on the passenger side? Would that have helped Lexi Lanny? Would that have helped if they were caught on the passenger side taking a nap?
So because of the fact that it was an accident, and if there was damage to his car, and if he was the only person in there, and it was warm and all of this, probably wouldn't made much of a difference. But if he was just like on a normal street, sound asleep, in his car, he may face charges for other things, but not DUI. They have to look at all the circumstances. Do you have the keys? Does it look like the car was moved? There's a lot of things in there. So if you are going to drink, and if you are going to just sleep in your car because you have nowhere else to sleep it off, and if you have zero intention of driving, go sleep in the back seat. That's probably going to allow you to face anything except maybe a ticket for, sleeping in your car in public or something.
Got it.
Weiss, you act like it's a plan. As someone who's fallen asleep in my car before, you don't plan to do it. And mine wasn't even from drinking. Mine was like at 3:00 in the afternoon, and I had just been up late with the kids and needed to take a rest. You know what I mean? But
well, truck drivers do it all the time. They pull off to the side of the road and they move from the driver's seat to the cab in the back or the back seat so that they cannot even be, looked at as like, even accused of, you had something to drink or you're doing something, evil.
No, but let's make this clear.
Paul Pierce has a very popular show. Would this affect his contract, his television contract?
Depends what channel he's on.
I think he might be off of TV. But let's be clear. We should understand what happened here, so we can understand that it's not like he pulled over the side of the road. At 1:00 in the morning on the 101, there's a big accident, shuts down the whole freeway. Right? He's on the 101. 2 hours later, at 3:15, they start opening lanes.
Don't tell me he fell asleep.
Yes, he's sleeping. He sleep there. So at 3:15, when they're trying to start the traffic again, that fool is in the middle lane. All right, he just sleep. He couldn't even argue. You know what I mean? I fell asleep. I went over here.
Oh, okay, now I get it.
Yeah, so he is definitely. And then they kind of asked him, "What the hell are you doing?" He said on the internet, "I'm old. I'm tired. Paul, I'm 10 years older than you, but I ain't sleeping on the 101. All right, you're ridiculous."
Yeah, he's only sleeping on the 110.
He was doing good until he got into that accident. He would have been home and he would have been in the bed. But
he wasn't in the accident. He shut down the highway.
Traffic got it.
He might have been fine.
So Paul Pierce and all other celebrities, they make this brand new app. Nobody's ever heard of it. It's called Waze. It lets you know where there's car accidents and things are going to shut down. You might want to think about using it.
Oh my goodness! All right, let's go to the algorithms. Algorithms, is Paul Pierce DUI just a mistake? He didn't really mean to fall asleep. Or is it a celebrity pattern? Is it a mistake or a pattern? Drop down in the chat. Paul was the truth on the court, but the truth today, he's guilty of being sloppy. All right, everybody. Be sure to hit that like button. Those likes aren't liking. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you haven't. And if you have, please hit the share button and invite somebody over to enjoy this foolery that we have over here in Celebrity Court. Don't forget to turn on your notifications. And as always, we love it when you drop down in the chat and talk back and with us. All right, this is a part of the show where we go into giving the verdict, and you too are allowed to give your sentence. All right, jury of the people, are you ready? Let's deliberate. First up, Jerry Jones. Legal Beagles, is he guilty or not guilty of abusing his power? Attorney Weiss, what say you?
Guilty.
Attorney Turner?
Jerry Jones is guilty of being, sounds like, America's sexual predator right now. He owns America's team, but he's being accused of being America's sexual predator. And if I had to bet, I'd bet he's guilty.
Attorney Carter?
I don't know. And because only the allegation is that he stood there and literally did a Trump in the middle of the luxury box. And that's not luxurious for anybody. But what he is guilty of is continually giving Dallas Cowboy fans hopes that they're gonna win Super Bowl. Every year is this our year, and you ain't won to 30 damn years. So from now on, you should not be able to say that anymore. That's what the judge should rule. All right, you need to just tell people you're gonna come in 5th place in the division and just let it go.
All right, I'm Alan. I'm the judge here at Celebrity Court. We're gonna find Jerry Jones not guilty. Not guilty is charged. He's too old. He don't know where to grab, when to grab, and even see what to grab. Allegedly. Allegedly. Right, next up, Kim Zolciak. Guilty or not guilty of subpoena messiness? Attorney Carter, what say you?
She is guilty of being greedy. That woman had got 2 multimillionaires, and my fine wife ain't got 1 yet. All right. And so, and you said earlier she don't have good pussycat management. That's what her sentence should be. They need to sentence her to teach other women how to manage in pussycat, because she bringing in millions. All right, for her milkshake.
All right, Attorney Turner.
I agree with Attorney Carter. I'm going to see if I can find out her email, because I keep being around here giving it up for free and getting paid. So not that I condone that, right? But everybody's doing it. And some people are involved in $100 million lawsuits. Well, they may have gotten extraneous money. And other of us are like, hey, can we go half at Starbucks? Like,
Attorney Weiss, what say you?
I say she's not guilty because she's not wearing a slip, because that would have gotten Attorney Carter in trouble. So no, she's guilty, 100%. And I'm curious to see what happens.
I'm Alan. I'm the judge here in Celebrity Court. We're going to find Kim Zolciak not guilty of discharge, but guilty of bad pussy management. There's no way. There is no way you should be having an affair with a guy worth that much money and you can't get your bills paid. That is poor pussy management.
Well, see what the subpoena say. He might have been paying all kind of stuff.
Well, I'm still saying it's still how you end up in foreclosure and selling your wigs on eBay. All right, next up, Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj, is she guilty or not guilty of financial fraud fiasco? Attorney Weiss, what say you?
She's guilty of being a dumbass. She's on top of the world.
Ooh, the barbs are going.
And absolutely not. She needs to take care of her business and tighten up. And you know, Turner, Carter, and Weiss are here to help her out. We're ready.
Attorney Turner.
She's guilty of being stunning in that picture. I almost didn't recognize her. Like,
you don't want the barbs on your behind.
But I'm just saying, I got to learn how to do my eyes that way. But yeah, she's guilty of being irresponsible. She has too much to lose to be caught in this situation.
Attorney Carter.
Once again, she is guilty. I agree with you here, Your Honor. She's guilty of bad pussycat management, because how you gonna marry, all right, a dude with multiple felonies, and then you don't answer your mail? You know, if you marry a fool with felonies, you got to answer your mail all the time, because he's gonna commit another one, right?
This is true. All right.
And then to them, what they should do, I gotta get their $500,000 back. All right, they need to get their own BET reality show, Love and Gin Pop. All right, and he Gin Pop and she Love.
Look, there are services out there that will charge you $50 a month to take all your mail, open it up, scan it to you, and send it wherever you want. You might want to think about that.
I think she wanted everybody to do that. I think she wanted everybody to do that. All right, I'm Al Reynolds, and I'm the judge here in Celebrity Court, and we're going to find Nicki Minaj guilty of not opening your mail. Jesus, which is now costing you possibly your $20 million mansion. Last but not least, Paul Pierce. Is he guilty or not guilty of driving into disgrace? Now, this is funny. All right, Attorney Carter, what say you?
He's guilty of forgetting he was black. All right, you on a freeway full of cops and red lights. How you gonna be going to sleep? I don't know about you. I heard about it. I ain't gonna go to sleep tonight. Just hearing about being on the freeway with all those cops. He forgot. He been rich so long. He just went to sleep like Jason would. All right,
Attorney Turner.
He's guilty of not having a good woman, apparently, because if he had a good woman, he would not have been out there by himself with that foolishness. Ooh. So he should call somebody.
You want him to spin the block. You ready for him to spin the block.
I'm just having memories of Miami circa 2010 or so.
Yes, no shame. Attorney Weiss, what say you?
He's guilty of not downloading Uber and Waze. That's all I got to say. Those two apps would have saved his ass.
All right, I'm Alan. I'm the judge here in Celebrity Court. We're going to find Paul Pierce guilty. You're right. Man, you make way too much money, got way too much money to get caught up like this. You should have been in an Uber if you knew you were going to be drinking. All right, everybody. Tonight, we saw a billionaire boss dragged into civil court, a reality star subpoenaed into chaos, a rap queen battling fraud and foreclosure, and a Hall of Famer who couldn't stay awake at the wheel. Now, here's the truth. Money might buy you lawyers, but it can't buy you credibility. Fame might get you headlines, but it won't keep you out of handcuffs. And power always get tested in this court. This is Celebrity Court of Public Opinion. I'm your judge, Al Reynolds. Court is officially adjourned, or at least until the next scandal. Thank you for watching, everybody, and have a great weekend.